do 1,000 times an hour in this country, pay him, and I want it to go away. And I use my cash, or corporate cash. I don't use campaign cash. And it has nothing to do with the campaign, actually. I've had this relationship with this guy. It hasn't gone very well in terms of employee-employer. And is that a campaign violation?
No, it should not be. Assuming that Frank is complaining about things that you've done in the past, or threatening to expose things he thinks are bad behavior, that you cheated golf or whatever it is, and those are things that are not related to you running a campaign, right? That's not a campaign expenditure, even though it might incidentally benefit your campaign. Even though you know, part of the reason you decide to pay it off now is so that you won't have to deal with all the press inquiries and, you know, some people who believe these charges and so on. But it doesn't make it a campaign expenditure. An example, let's say Frank had actually sued you and you had a lawsuit pending, and you said, this lawsuit is totally bogus, but I don't want to worry about this during the campaign, so let's just settle it with Frank. It doesn't turn it into a campaign expenditure. It's still a personal expenditure.
So you want to clean up things that have taken place that, in your view, may bring negative press to your campaign, and it might influence the outcome of the election, and you say, you know what? These are private matters. This is my money. I have every right to spend this money to do that. Correct?
Right.
Now, what if the converse were true? It seems to me a complaint would be filed every single day against candidates who are running for office when they spend their own money or corporate money to look better, or to quiet people who are attacking them, or to do whatever, buy a different kind of car, wear different kinds of clothes, get it, as you point out, get a new haircut and so forth. I mean, the list of charges would be endless.
Well, yes, potentially it would be. Let us take, for example, suppose a candidate were a successful businessman and had a number of corporations, and he said to his corporations, let's give all our employees a big Christmas bonus this year because the voters will see that I'm a really generous employer, and that will make them think highly of me. Right? Does that turn that into a campaign expense? Can they now use campaign funds to pay those bonuses to employees of the business, not the campaign? Can they use campaign funds rather than the business funds? The answer is no. That's not a campaign expense. It's still an obligation of the business. It's an obligation that does not exist irrespective of the campaign.
But if I want to pay it out of my own pocket, it's perfectly fine.
Right. If you want to pay it out of your own pocket, too, it would be the same thing.
So what the argument seems to be, and it hasn't changed, is that if I spend money to make myself look better or to take away negative issues in my private life, my business life, my employment life, and use my own money, that somehow that is a campaign contribution. Correct?
Right.
Which it is not.
That's right. It is not.
Now, you're a law professor. I'm a lawyer. We've litigated and so forth. This is a guilty plea. It is a plea bargain. Correct, Lee Cohen?
That's my understanding.
Does this have judicial precedence, stare decisis? Is it controlling in any way on any future case in that respect?
No, it's not the same as if you had a judgment from the court defining this as a campaign expenditure. It's a plea bargain, and people plea bargain for lots of reasons. And one of the big reasons is that they plea bargain down to a lesser charge, or they get a lesser penalty for pleading to something. And these prosecutors can come at them with all kinds of charges, and they just decide it's best not to fight it. So sometimes people plea bargain when they think they're totally innocent, but they don't think it's worth fighting. Sometimes they plea bargain to one charge just to get, because the penalty for that is less than the other thing they would be charged with. Lots of reasons why people plea bargain, but bottom line is, just as you said, it's not judicial precedent that you can cite in court to prove the law of the case.
So if a prosecutor sits down with a target and says, look, we got multiple counts of tax fraud here, tax evasion. We've got false statements on loan applications. Okay, we'll knock this down to 5 tax evasion charges, 1 false statement, and we want you to plead guilty to these campaign finance issues, which they believe are violations, or they claim are violations, unlawful corporate contributions, excessive personal contributions. Now, you sign on the dotted line, and he signs on the dotted line. Okay, that's him signing on the dotted line. That's not an adjudication. And by the way, just because the prosecutor says it's a violation of law, at least in my entire legal career and experience, that doesn't make it so, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Well, Bradley Smith, I always appreciate your expertise. It's very, very important because this can get complicated, particularly with all the static going on out there. So enjoy your vacation.
Thank you very much, Mark. Good talking.
All right. All right, you too. Be well. There's another point of this that bothers me a great deal. Stormy Daniels signed the non-disclosure agreement. She was paid. And she violated the non-disclosure agreement. She violated the contract. Because she wanted more. Because the president was running for office. Where I come from, that sounds like blackmail. I'm not making an allegation. I'm not making an allegation. I'm just telling you what it sounds like to me. So I just point this out to you. Now, I've spent 2 long segments on this. I believe you'll understand this better. And I believe now when you watch Professor Turley, who got it all wrong 10 minutes ago on TV, and the others, you'll know why they got it all wrong. And I'll be right back.